Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another live stream on this severe weather threat in Kansas and Missouri. We are currently out looking for several storms that are currently firing across both western, central, and eastern Kansas, and also a little bit in eastern Missouri into southwestern Illinois. We are watching these storms as they are severe thunderstorm warned, and we do have a tornado watch in effect for some of these areas in central Missouri into eastern Kansas, and we already have seen a few storms in the tornado watch area that may be possibly producing some rotation. Maybe not any tornadoes so far, definitely not, but we are still watching for that tornado potential, and we are not at the peak of this event yet. If you look on this forecast model, you can see the peak of the event doesn't really come into favor until around 9 p.m., where you see a lot of those black outlines. Those means extremely strong storms, and you can see the discrete, which means they're more likely to produce tornadoes. 9-10 p.m. up to 11 p.m. is where we're expecting the most action to occur. So we really have to wait and see with these systems, as this is still not the peak moment of the event. But at the moment, we are still looking at several severe thunderstorms that are on their way to becoming possibly supercellular or already supercellular. This one just went through a merger with. It was two different supercells that combined and have now formed this one severe thunderstorm warning for 1.5-inch hail. That is for ping pong size hail, and that is concerning. You do have to make sure to put all pets keep all pets away from outdoors. You have to make sure to stay away from windows and also protect your cars, as your car windshields will likely become broken due to these hailstones. This is significant hail, but it isn't necessarily the largest we've seen today, as we've seen over here near St. Louis, surprisingly, where we haven't really noticed that big of a threat. We have seen up to 2-inch hail. Of course, it's not showing those reports anymore because they've been a long time ago. It was like 2 hours ago. But there were some significant hail, especially near Prairie du Rocher towards Bloomsdale, Festus, and Olympian Village. These were all places that did experience some significant hail earlier. However, it's not just the hail that's the threat. Of course, if you look at the SBC outlook, that is the fire outlook. I'll get to that later. If you look at the SBC outlook, we do have that hail risk, which is probably the most important and most likely to cause some damages, with that 30% hatched risk here in Overland Park, Kansas, towards Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, and all of those areas in between. But we also have a tornado risk, a 5% tornado risk, a probability of a 5% tornado risk in every 25 miles of a given point. That means there's a 5% chance that we'll see a tornado in a location in the 25 miles surrounding a location in this specific area. And that is much higher than it usually is. That's one thing to know for sure. Usually it is 0%, but here it is 5%, and even though that doesn't sound like a lot, it still is a concern. Also, for tomorrow, which I will also be going live for, we do also have another risk for tornadoes, especially here in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois, where we have yet again a 5% chance of seeing a tornado in 25 miles of a given point. There's also a 2% chance of seeing a tornado in 25 miles of a given point, and a 2% risk surrounding that, which goes all the way up towards Cleveland, Ohio, and moves back down here towards Davenport, Iowa, down here towards Springfield, Missouri, over there towards Idabel, which is actually in the 5% risk, but it's still nearby to that region, down towards Texas into the Tyler region, and goes towards Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the Memphis Metro in Mississippi and Tennessee, and also towards Mayfield, Kentucky. You can see that there are several locations in this. Chicago, Illinois especially is in the 2% risk, which is still higher than average. Don't forget, it's still concerning because it's still higher than average. even if it isn't that much of a high chance, it's still a higher possibility for some tornadoes to drop down. For Chicago, Dallas, Detroit, Indianapolis, and Columbus, all of these areas will experience a 2% chance for tornadoes. But the main risk will remain in St. Louis, Little Rock, Springfield, Illinois, and Missouri, and Fort Smith, Arkansas, where we will experience a tornado threat. Once again, though, the main risk here is hail. You can see there is a hail risk up to 30% hatched for this region. Hatched basically means that the hail will be extremely large. It will be large hail and damaging hail at that. And it will cause major damages across this whole general region, which is hatched or dashed over here towards Illinois, into Missouri, into Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And you can see the higher the possibility, up to 30%, the higher the chance there is for hail to occur, for strong hail to occur. And this hatch risk just shows how powerful that hail will be. It will be definitely some huge hail that we'll experience in the Arkansas area, and that is our main concern. We also do have a wind threat, 30% wind threat, not hatch, which means we're not going to be seeing extremely strong winds, but we are going to have a high chance of seeing severe winds, up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. If we look at the winds, let's just see wind gusts. You can see there's a few areas that end up in Arkansas that see around 30. Here, let me get to a better model. Wind gust. You can see there's a few areas there in Arkansas into Missouri that experience quite a bit more of wind, towards 50 miles per hour, I believe. Yeah, that's in miles per hour. And it actually goes into Illinois and Indiana, too, with that MCS system that we're talking about. But overall, this is a risk. I will talk about the thermodynamics more later. But overall, this is a risk that we have to watch out for today and tomorrow. I did describe this in my video recently, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. It was my most recent video. But otherwise, this is still a concerning event, and we have to pay attention to what's going on now. Alright, no tornado warnings yet, which is good. No even tornado possible tags yet on any thunderstorm, which is once again good. Alright, guys, so now we have yet another 2-inch hail estimated area of severe thunderstorm warning. A severe thunderstorm warning is now warned for 2-inch hail over here near Plainville, Kansas, and Zurich, Kansas. This is definitely, the pink colors showcase that there is a lot of hail in this hot spot. That does showcase that there is a significant area of hail developing and is starting to grow, which means you have to protect all pets from outdoors. You have to protect yourself from outdoors, as you might get hurt, and also your car windshield. Your car windshield will be badly damaged. This is the size of an egg. Egg-shaped hail, egg-sized hail, whatever you want to name it. And it's approaching the size of possibly a small softball. It's not quite there yet. Of course, it has to be much larger to reach softball size, but we are approaching that general vicinity of a small softball. If this does get any stronger and reaches softball size, that will be extremely damaging. Thankfully, we don't have that yet, but this is still a considerable severe thunderstorm warning at the moment. That is what is considered when we have 2-inch hail reports. Well, there haven't been any reports yet. Let me just do something real quickly. I don't know why it's not showing them. Yeah. Alright, I found it. Alright. There we go. Okay, so we do have a report of 1.2 inch in diameter hail in the town of Zurich, Kansas, Now, that isn't 2 inches. That isn't really comparable to 2-inch diameter. So, thankfully, this is not confirmed, this amount of hail. It's only confirmed by radar. So, radar shows a possibility of what's on the ground because it reflects off of hailstones and any sort of collision. It collides with objects in the sky. So, it gives a general picture of what's happening in places that are far away. So, we may see some hail here, but it's not quite there at 2 inches at the moment. We're unsure. There could still be some hail with this, but it doesn't look like it's at the magnitude that this says it is at yet. But we'll see. We only have had one. We also had a 1-inch hail report here near the town of Fort Downer in Kansas. 1-inch hail, which is smaller size. That's probably the size of believe a quarter, about the size of a quarter, maybe more like close to a nickel. Nickel is around 0.75 inches in diameter, I believe. I'm not entirely sure about these estimates. Don't take credit for what I say. I've done my research, but it's still difficult to say for me because I probably should have studied more before this. I don't know. I think I'm doing pretty well, but if you know anything better than me, you can tell me in the chat. I don't know. Alright, so we still have all these severe thunderstorm warnings here. For Alta Vista, Alma, McFarland, across Interstate 70 into Newbury, and Waubonsee. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. If I am, please inform me. Alright, so this is rotation. When you see bright colors, or sort of bright colors right next to each other, very close in proximity to each other, that's rotation. Now this isn't a great example. It isn't the strongest rotation, but it is a little bit, so we do have to worry. And when there's rotation, tornadoes may be able to form. And this storm near Alma, is displaying some signs of rotation. The problem is it's right near the radar, so this is like only because radar goes up in the atmosphere depending on how far away the radar originally was. The radar beams go further up in the atmosphere depending on how far away the radar is. So because of the curvature of the Earth. So basically, if they're closer to the radar, it will be closer to the ground where the radar is picking up the information. And if it's farther away from the radar, it will be higher up in the atmosphere. This may be too low down to describe anything. Maybe it's just, I don't know. It could be that something's on the ground, but it seems unlikely. Let's see if we got any cameras here. Let's see if we got any cameras here. Kansas. Let me see where this is. It's near Alma. There is one. Let's see. It's not a good view of the sky. Oh, there is something happening. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, jeez. Part broke off. Yeah, I don't know why I did. Alright, so it looks like we're having some hail dropping here in the Alma storm. That is severe warned for hail, so you would expect that. And we are getting quite a bit of lightning here, too. 1.5 inch in diameter hail now in Alma, Kansas. We have recorded 1.5 inch in diameter hail, which is approaching towards the size of a ping pong ball, maybe even closer to the golf ball size. Not quite there yet, but it is approaching that, and that is concerning. We do have to worry about that, as that hail is enough to damage these cars. The cars that are driving across the screen right now, their windshields are probably being damaged by this hail. Now, tornado risk is still low, but you can see there is some rotation as it remains with the storm. we're not seeing anything on this camera, but you can see a significant amount of hail is currently ongoing with this system. And this is the same storm that dropped 1.5 inch in diameter hail and probably was around here where the report was made. So be extremely careful. It looks like it paused at the moment. Yeah, definitely quite a bit of hail in this region. Let's look in another camera to see if there's any other cameras. There's a bit of lightning on this one. Really, the best one is the one that we just saw. That is very, interesting due to how much hail there is. That is definitely a showcase of what the storm is. So, all of these storms with hail probably looks like this, and that is definitely not a picture you want to be out there or your pets want to be out in. Alright, so we got the severe thunderstorm warning near Wakini, extended. It does have a little bit of rotation. It's not anything insane. These aren't the brightest colors, but you can see there still is a little something here. Maybe that. Here, let me see if I can get a camera of that. Wakini. There it is. Alright, so this one. This is probably looking at the storm. Due to the views you can see. Definitely a very dull environment, but we're not really seeing much from here. It's a little blurry. Yeah, definitely a dull environment to notice, but it's a storm around here. This is looking southeast. That's a little bit past the storm. That's directly east. East. Southeast. East, southeast. Yeah, these are not in the direction that you want them to be in. Whatever, that storm isn't looking as concerning. Oh my gosh, we have a tornado warning. Everyone, this storm... That is side lobe. Alright, guys. That is side lobe. Is it? Maybe it isn't. Oh, I see why they warned it. Yeah, see, this looks like a hook echo. What a hook echo is, basically it's sometimes an indicating factor of a tornado because there's winds coming into this clear air sector and winds moving out of this sector that is convective or it has storms within it. That rotates and may produce a tornado. I can see why they warned this. So everybody in Alta Vista, go to shelter now. Let's see if we have any cameras near Alta Vista. We do have a tornado warning. That does not mean there's a tornado on the ground, but it does mean that we might have a tornado on the ground. Let's see if we have... Doesn't look like we have much cameras here. We have one over here. These are kind of far away. If we had anything in Council Grove, it would be appreciated. But... you can see there is some rain here. So definitely something I don't know. What side lobe is, what he said about side lobe, I'm just waiting for people to join the stream. That's just the conditions. What side lobe basically is, now it can be formed by several factors. First, the radar beams can be bouncing off of hail, and they consider that rotation since they're bouncing off of them, and hail moves in all different directions. It's just like all over the place, so that can be seen as rotation. Also, it can be if rotation is being seen in the upper atmosphere, but not the lower atmosphere. Maybe the radar is far away, and or maybe one of the radar beams moves off the trail it's supposed to. It goes a little bit further up than it's supposed to, and then moves farther up in the atmosphere, or maybe there's rotation farther up in the atmosphere, and it's showing that there's rotation in one area, even though it's just in the upper atmosphere, it's not on the ground, which means there's not a tornado on the ground, maybe just some rotation at the top. And also, it can be caused by maybe just rotating wind, which can be formed from the clear slot of the storm. Maybe it'll just be outflow dominant, which means that more winds are going out than coming in, which may show rotation, but it's not enough since enough wind has to go in instead of going out. Those are several of the causes for side lobe contamination. But what side lobe contamination does, it makes you think that there's rotation on a storm, these brighter colors, when there isn't. However, I'm not sure if this is. I'm not sure if there is. I mean, the NWS did issue a tornado warning. I should trust them. We should trust them. I mean, this does look like a hook echo, like I said. That may be a sign of tornado. That does look like it. This is a supercell for sure. Let's look at the history. Yeah, it just formed that hook from the separate... Well, not really separate, but this other area of convection that was right off of there. I really wish we did have cameras around here. These might get a view. You can see some lightning. There's some lightning, but no view of... This is interesting. Oh, okay, so you definitely can see stuff over here. That is where the storm is, northeast. Northeast? Oh, never mind. That's where another storm is. Well, here, it's going directly northeast, so that must be north. Is there a storm north of there? North of Ogden? It's not showing Ogden on the map. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Over here, that's probably what they're talking about. That doesn't have a tornado warning on it or anything. Oh, and this is I almost thought it did, but no, it's not having a hook on it. There's a little bit of rotation there. So I would pay attention to that. Alright, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now for this area near Columbia. Ugh. Fortunately, this radar is not working because it has an outage. It's been down for a while, so we're not going to get that anytime soon. Unfortunately, we're not going to have any good radars for the storm. But they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning because it does look like it has significant hail. So watch out there near Fulton and Columbia. You're not quite in that severe thunderstorm warning, but you're close enough to where it may warrant some attention. Alright, so this is right near the radar, so we're definitely going to get a good view of this, because then we can see how much this is on the ground. I don't know, there is some rotation with this, so this could be a tornado. We have to wait and see, and very damaging hail with this, too. 1.75-inch hail, which means that it's the size of up to a golf ball, which means it can definitely damage some car windshields, and if you leave pets outside, they may get hurt or even worse, so be extremely careful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this rotation is getting insane. That could be side lobe. Another sign of side lobe is when there's a quick cutoff between the rotation, like when the rotation is an extremely small area, or it's just cut off. Like, there's like a huge cutoff between no rotation and rotation, or no storms at all in rotation. If the rotation doesn't line up with the reflectivity, it does this time around. But if it didn't, then it would be side lobe contamination because there's no storms there. How could there be a tornado there? And also, if the colors are way too bright, because that would just be insane. And I don't know. This is looking concerning. I don't think this is side lobe because this is matching up the reflectivity and everything. There's no way to tell if we have a CC drop. CC drop shows how much, if there's damage flying across the air. There's no way to tell, though. It's really difficult. So we have no cameras. Our closest camera Closest bet is probably here. We only have them along the interstates, it seems like. We do have some lightning here. But no pictures of it. Whatever. The radar is all we need. The radar, technically it isn't all we need. We also need pictures too. But this is the only thing I can use now without getting copyrighted, so. Just so you know, guys, I am live whenever I need to be for these types of severe weather events. Usually for an hour, sometimes more. There is rotation now starting to pick up with the storm near Plainville with 1.5-inch diameter hail. This was the one that I reported 1.2-inch in diameter hail. So now this is showing some rotation. And this one is still as well. It's just about as strong as it was before, though. Now let me just show you a brief look. Oh, this is interesting. It's a little thunderstorm popping up here in Illinois. That wasn't really in the risk. But yeah, there's a little something there. Interesting. But you can see these storms are firing under this warm front. A warm front is basically the front that separates warm and cold air usually over a gradient, usually over like a small transition. There was 2-inch hail reports, but I think this was from yesterday. But yeah, these are forming across this warm front because that's where the warm air collides with the cold air, and that causes storms. And as long as they're near this warm front, they'll be one of the storms to get their action on and maybe produce. Jeez, this is looking concerning. I don't know. This is still radar indicated, not confirmed. This does look concerning, though. There's a lot of... Is that... No, it isn't. I was worried, but... Okay. Tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground, everyone. Tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground, guys. Tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground. It's observed. Tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground. In Kansas, here it begins. Since it's observed, let's see what they said. A confirmed tornado was located near Volland, moving north at 30 miles per hour. Damaging tornado and a golf-sized ball-sized hail. Law enforcement. So, law enforcement, it wasn't storm chasers. Law enforcement near Volland reported that a tornado was on the ground right here near Volland. Alta Vista and Volland, you need to get to your safe spots. Now, okay, where exactly is your safe spot? It's basically an interior room inside your house. If you were to somehow walk through walls, if you were in a room where if you walk through walls, then you would enter into another room, you are safe. If all of the walls are, if you were to walk through all of the walls in a room and you would enter into another room, you are safe in each of the walls. You would be safe. If you were able to walk through walls and you walk through one of the walls and then you enter outside, then you are not safe. Go into another room where you can walk into another room. And also go to a basement. Basement is the best bet because the tornado can't reach underground. You gotta go to the basement if you have one. Tornado on the ground. Tornado on the ground. Near Volland. This is approaching right towards Volland. Let me see the population of Volland. Let me just change town. Okay. Let me just change that one more time. Alright, sorry about that. I was just fixing that. No cameras near Alta Vista, but law enforcement did report it. Here, let's see if this has something. This is looking east, so that's not helpful. We're trying to look at something south. We need something that is looking south. North. Better, but still not quite there. Huh, can't find it. Alright, there's no cameras. We just have to go off of what the National Weather Service said. It is observed. And that means that this tornado warrants a name. It is in the Great Plains region, so this is Tornado Bristol. There is the report. Tornado, 8:50 p.m., 3 miles northeast of Alta Vista, County Wabaunsee. The fire department and rescue department reported the tornado on the ground. They saw a tornado near Volland. Remark, there's none. Tornado on the ground. Get to shelter. Bring all of your pets to shelter. Still at 1.5-inch hail risk. Looking at these other storms in the meantime, we did get a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Leavenworth and Platte City. Definitely has some hail on this storm. Not really rotation, just a bunch of hail. 2 tornado warnings in effect, one of them confirmed. And it's showing it from even the other radars, which means that it can also be high up in the atmosphere. So, there is a tornado. There's a tornado. Let me just be right back. I gotta check. Alright, I'm back. It does seem like there is a funnel. It's no longer on the ground. That is what it seems like. I'm just reporting that from other information. Volland, thankfully, it looks like it's a ghost town. So nobody lives in Volland anymore, so that is good. But still, this would be a very good camera. You can see there is a lot of lightning with this storm. Wait. Yeah, I turned my camera on. You can see there's a lot of lightning with the storm. Some hail. This is showing some hail. Definitely something to watch. This is not in the direction of the tornado, but it is still something to be concerned about, as this is the same storm and will give you an idea of what exactly is going on. This is an extremely concerning tornado. That has been reported. Okay, so the rotation is weakening. I have to go soon, just so you know, but you just have to wait until this tornado warning is dropped. Because I want to be here to protect. Just wait until this tornado warning is done for. Two-inch hail. 2-inch hail. That is extremely powerful hail. That will definitely cause cracks in the windshield. Definitely something to be concerned about. That is extreme hail. Tornado Bristol is definitely causing a lot. And the hail is too. The hail surrounding with this thunderstorm. This is just a huge storm. This is the main view we have on it right now. And it's an insane storm. It's dropping lots of hail. This is looking north. That was definitely some intense lightning. You can see there's still intense lightning with the storm. Be right back. Just need more information. Still unsure if it's on the ground. Still unsure, but we have these cameras just to show that this is a strong storm. It has lots of lightning. Definitely a concern. And this tornado warning has been extended. Thankfully now is a radar indicated warning, which means we're not entirely sure that it's on the ground anymore, but there was a tornado on the ground briefly. So we have to be aware that this had a history of producing tornadoes. We still have to be concerned because of that. Because it did produce tornadoes at one point. It isn't anymore, but we still have to be concerned. It doesn't look like we had a tornado on the ground from what I saw, but definitely still possibly a funnel or something as such. Still intense rotation with the tornado. This is directly over the Volland now. This is a ghost town, though. There is houses here, so I'm actually not sure if it is a ghost town or they're just... There is a store still. I don't know. I think people do live in Volland. Just be careful. If you're in Volland, you should be in shelter, because this is a tornado right here. And this is approaching towards Alma. Alma. Let me see the population of Alma. Population of Alma. 5,850. It's 5,850. 5,850 people should be going to shelter now. 5,850 people. This is a tornado possibly on the ground. Thankfully, we're not sure it's on the ground anymore, but it was capable of producing tornado and still is. This has some intense rotation with it still. Bright colors all around. Oh my gosh, there's some flooding on the roadway now. Some flooding is occurring. Maybe not too much, but a little bit of flooding occurring. And that is some intense lightning. You cannot see the tornado as this is looking north. But maybe we'll get a view very soon. I don't know, I hope so. I hope we'll be able to find a way to see this somehow. This is looking north. We'll check up on that as the storm approaches. It is now leaving Volland and now is approaching Alma. Bristol is now leaving Volland and approaching Alma. We do have to go very soon, just so you know. When this tornado warning reaches down to 10 minutes, I'll have to go. I do not want to have to go because this is a concerning situation, but I'm going to have to because I have some work to do. Three tornado warnings currently, although 2 of them will be expired soon. But we did have a tornado 3 miles northeast of Alta Vista, Kansas. Let's see if it has a debris ball and might be a tornado on the ground still. I don't know. It may have one. Let's see. I'm gonna put my finger on here. Maybe a little. So it could be on the ground, but I'm not really seeing anything directly. I don't know. We still have to be extremely worried. Well, don't be, like, extremely concerned. Just go to shelter if you live in Alma, McFarland, and don't be on this road. Just don't be on it. Near I-70. between mile markers 320 and 330. Just don't be on it. Get off, go north, go south, go whatever direction is better for you to escape the storm. Probably not south, because that is where the storm... It looks like a cyclone right now. That is something very interesting. It looks like a cyclone, but it isn't. It's just the hook echo is really pronounced. Storm may still be around, even though this might be a separate tornado. It might be a different area of vorticity. That commonly happens when it recycles. It changes. Basically, when it recycles, it redevelops. The tornado enters back on the ground. Like a second time. Still these severe thunderstorm warnings. Still have rotation near Volland and Allendorf, especially towards Alma. This might go directly through Alma, which is definitely not what we want. It might go directly through Alma. It's possible. It is on that trajectory. Still only radar indicated, so thankfully it may not still be on the ground. But we do have to worry. Because it could very well be. Because there is still a tornado warning. Did it get stronger? I don't think it did. I think it just remained about the same. It is starting to weaken maybe a little bit. Which is what we hoped for. Still some rotation here, though. I gotta go now, guys. I really do not want to leave right when there's a tornado ongoing, but I'm gonna have to. I believe. had a good time, folks. Not really, because this is a concerning tornado. Two-inch hail still. Let's look at the camera one more time. Still some hail. And still lots of lightning. Definitely concern here. Lots of hail. I believe lots of hail. It is beginning to weaken, thankfully, so maybe it's not going to be the worst thing that I'm going to leave. Yeah, it is starting to weaken. Yeah, that definitely shows it is beginning to weaken, because now the colors are not only getting brighter, but it's becoming more outflow dominant, which means more winds are going out than coming in, which means that it's weakening, because it can't be using more energy. I think, thankfully, Alma missed this. Alma thankfully missed this tornado, which is what we wanted to hear. So that is good. Anyways, I do have to end the stream now. I believe this was a tornado on the ground, pretty sure. But thankfully, it looks like it is beginning to weaken, and we are going to get it out of our hair. Hopefully that's it for this tornado night. But, you know, if we do have more stuff from I'm available, maybe I'll go live later on. But I'm not sure. Anyways, goodbye, guys.